Yes, you can. You definitely can grow mangoes and papaya in New Zealand. Just 3 steps in this video. Find out how you can grow mangoes and papaya in New Zealand by selecting the right varieties from Ben's garden. And they'll be ready just at the right time of the year for you to plant them, the best time of the year. And there's something special about these particular selections that make them just the right choice for growing in New Zealand. You'll hear about our new mango club called Mango Circle. So pre-order a mango tree and you get free access to Mango Circle, where you get lots of information and videos and guides and things to help you get the best success out of growing mangoes and papaya. But the best thing in this video is you'll see not just our mangoes and papaya, but we'll have a look at some of our customers who've grown mangoes and papaya. So you'll see just how you can do the same as well. You ready? Let's go for it.
Mangoes in New Zealand, wonder if they'll grow. Some say yes, some say no.
Just because it has.
But Ben's been growing year by year. Keys are mangoes fresh and clear. Sunshine, love and soil so free. A taste of India, grown locally.
G'day, Sam King here from Ben's Garden, and yep, you definitely can grow mangoes and papaya in New Zealand. Well, if you go about it the right way. That's what this short video is about, but there's lots of other videos that you'll need to watch. Come on over to Ben's Facebook page, but especially our website. There's all sorts of guides there, and guess what? We're starting up a mango circle. It's like a mango club. For anyone who buys mangoes from us, you join free and you get all sorts of content about how to look after stuff. For example, one of the things with mangoes, growing mangoes, getting success out of getting heaps of mangoes on your tree is tipping and clipping, but the skills of how you go about that are not the same as other trees. So like for example, we're doing a video tomorrow and we're doing clipping about 100 at least mangoes, and so we show you where they go. You've got to start tipping and clipping your mangoes within the first year, about after the first year, so that they understand, well, more about it in those videos. So of course there are a few things, and it's quite important to get it right with things like enough water but not too much, and fertilizer in the right kind, and not too much and not the wrong kind. But also the benefit is of being in a mango circle group, we can also learn from each other. We can post our photos up and all that sort of stuff. You can see what people just like you are doing inside their greenhouses or outside in their garden to get good results. Here are some people who grew some mangoes from a tree that Ben gave them actually some years ago. Look at them. This one's not a fancy photo, but look at it. 2.6 kilos, and I'm not going to show you how many kilos is the other one. You just won't believe it. But why am I telling you about mangoes and papaya now when it's like at the beginning of winter? Well, you need to plan, you need to organise and do a couple of things right now. The first thing is you've got to pre-order your mango and papaya plants now, because we gear them up so that the papayas are ready about Guy Fawkes, around about that sort of time. Commercial growers like to take them a little bit smaller and a fraction earlier, but around about there, around about Guy Fawkes in November is the best time to plant your papaya. And mangoes, about then if you've got a greenhouse. Otherwise December is better if you're growing them outside. But you've got to pre-order, so we know that we're putting in enough for you. This mango tree here is only 1 year old, which is pretty amazing really, and the seeds went into the soil for that a year ago, and it's right now that we're putting seeds in basically to order. So if we're getting this much orders or that much orders, that's how much seed we put in, plus a few more. So you've got to get in quick with your preference. Look on our different pages and see what you think there are 3 mangoes that you absolutely need a greenhouse for, otherwise they will struggle. All the rest, we've specially chosen mangoes that we know do far better in New Zealand growing inside and out than other varieties. We know because Ben's been growing mangoes for, well, since a long time ago anyway, many birthdays ago. So so these varieties of mangoes here, that's an Alfonso, this is a Langra, Kesars by the look of it, that's a Dashiri. So what we've done is we've chosen mangoes that, although they commercially grow in the warm and hot parts of India, they're also found growing not just in backyards, but commercially in some of the northernmost parts of India too. Places where in the same area people wear puffer jackets in the winter. That doesn't mean to say that they'll do really, really well if it's really, really cold. Obviously you want to give it the warmest conditions that you possibly can, but you don't want frost. A good variety might handle the odd very mild frost, but not too many of them. You want to be especially careful in the first year, but after that they get a bit more hardy, so the odd mild frost won't hurt it too much. Last week in this greenhouse there were 2 nights that were about 5 degrees and I didn't turn the heating on. But it's a different story with our little mangoes coming up. That's a different story. It's very difficult to propagate mangoes from seed and get them to this sort of level of success in such a short time. That takes you know, a lot of experience, and that's what value we bring to the plants that we're able to provide. There you go, that's mangoes. So so the thing is, now when you're pre-ordering your mango, make sure you click this. That means you're accepting for free to join our mango circle. It's like a mango club, where in there we put a lot more information about how to grow mangoes, how to care for them. You know, 3 of the most important things are having the right amount of water, not too much, and all that sort of thing. What to feed them and when not to feed them, what sort of things you should never feed them. But even, you know, clipping and tipping, that's super important, because otherwise it's quite common for people to grow huge mango trees, even in New Zealand, big mango trees, lots of wood, but don't fruit. But if they were treated in a different way, they could have had loads and loads, even hundreds of mangoes hanging off them. Our success mangoes, forget about what we can show you we can grow with fruit. Have a look at this. So here's one of our friends. Ben gave them mango, or I don't know whether you sold it or gave it to them, Ben? Gave it. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. That one was free. But your one won't be, because you're not our, well, we shouldn't say that. Anyway, so look at that. And, you know, each year they're getting mangoes. And some years they're getting huge mangoes. Look at this one, 2.6 kilo, and that was just in the last season. So that's Kerry and Winnie from Whangarei. I don't know if you even know them, but they're well travelled, so they quite often go off to you know, all those different countries. So they've tasted a lot of mango in their time, and he said that this mango picked right off their own tree was the best mango they ever had. He thought, oh, being a big one, the flavour might be down a bit, but no, he said it was the best mango he ever tasted. So that's what you're going for too. When you have a tree ripened mango, that means it's had all of the sun all the way through. It hasn't been sitting inside a case going through a ship coming over here. Picked him when it was like concrete. When you grow a mango to full ripening, just amazing. So that's what you want to go for. And if you pre-order now and join that mango club, then you start to see all the different various information, the special information that shows you how to prepare for your mangoes. Sometimes we get people, even at this time of the year, people saying they have problems with their mango tree, and then we find it's still in the pot. like months and months after they bought it, and it's still sitting there and it's not doing anything. So what you've got to do is spend the time between now and November, December to prepare a good spot for your mango and learn about what is the right thing and what's the wrong thing to do about how to go about that. The other thing too is that obviously greenhouses will produce a much better result with mangoes and papaya. That's obvious, isn't it? But you think, well, they're way too expensive. Not really. So check out our DIY videos on how you can build a greenhouse, even like this kind of size. And it doesn't have to be this shape. It could be a little bit different or whatever. But it only costs $500 for timber to put that up, and then you stick some plastic on it. Now, if you want to turn it into an absolute powerhouse of growing anything you want to, you've got to think about the heat. What we've got at Ben's Garden is a system where you can inexpensively change your greenhouse so it's not just like so hot that it's like the Sahara Desert, and that obviously makes a big difference about the amount of fruit and the quality of fruit that you can produce. Imagine putting up a greenhouse this size. How many papaya or mango can you fit inside there? Look at this. This is Leo's one growing outside in just next to an exposed area, a little bit of shelter around it, and it was just planted last year, and that's outside next to an exposed area.
Really stoked.
Yep. What about this one? This is exposed too, but there's some warmth from the fence, and that one's from Trevor. Both of those, we actually gave them the plants for that. They were just scruffy ones that we just, oh well, we better get rid of them somewhere. We can't sell them. There you go. And look at it. So this one here, it's got a few fruit, but they're huge. And look at the height of them. They're dwarf. I mean, Ben's almost a dwarf, and so they're right next to there like that. So these are dwarf papaya trees, and which is really good because the higher they go up, the more exposed they're going to be. And you know, those sort of in Asian countries where they've got big areas of papaya that are really tall, a tsunami or the, what do you call it? Cyclones come in and the whole lot go down. Stupid idea. You just grow these ones, and these have the same amount of fruit or even more than those really tall papaya. So those tall papaya, stupid idea, just grow these ones. You'll get everything you need, and you can pick it just like that. That's why, one of the reasons why they're a really good choice for commercial growing in New Zealand, because cheap to pick. You know, you've got low hanging fruit, but they're the top stuff. When you get fruit of this sort of size coming into winter, they almost always last through winter, and then spring starts and they start yellowing up. You should be able to pick the first ones of these around about, you know, early November or through November and right through December, all these other ones. And these flowers will be coming on through too, so that's really good. Alrighty, so we're going to get back to our mangoes and papaya and how to order, but just for a second, let's have a look at greenhouses. So if you've got one or want one, or maybe you think they're too expensive, well, have a look at our greenhouse page. Well, there are different ways, not just greenhouses, to increase the temperature or to give shelter for your mangoes and papaya. Things like just windbreak over the top or around the sides, placing things near a building, like near a house, under the eaves, next to a retaining wall or a fence. Those things help a lot. Even making like a greenhouse but without the plastic, just with shade cloth, that sort of thing can be good. Or even making a greenhouse and you think that's too expensive, why don't you have a look at our DIY videos? Actually, I used to be a builder and I used to be a woodwork teacher, so you'll see step by step how even a like year 9 or 10 student could make a papaya or mango hut, a small greenhouse, easy as. If you find some of the skills a little bit challenging, your sawing's a bit wonky or something, just, you know, like working with somebody else and get it together. But you got between now and November, December to get everything ready. If you want to put up a greenhouse or something like this, that's a great idea. But even if you have a greenhouse already, what you should really think about is ventilation and proper ventilation, because on a hot day, even if you've got the windows up, if there's no breeze, it can be way too hot. If it's too humid or something, the flowers can drop off. So we have our greenhouses set to about between 32 and 34, and we never spike way up into the 40s and 50s. So have a look there, we've got vents and we've got exhaust fans, and learn about how you can just buy those things, stick them in your greenhouse. Costs a little wee bit to put them in, but once they're going, they make a huge difference. They will pay for themselves quickly in the plants that don't die because they're there. Like seriously. And you can go onto our little calculator thing there, so you can use the calculator and it will tell you what sort of size fan or how many of you need of them to look after your greenhouse. But having said that, that's just when you're going in for like the absolute best scenario with loads and loads and loads of fruit. But still, the first option does work. You can grow these things outside. You'll see, you know, our ones outside here, we get fruit on them, and other people who have grown Ben's Garden mangoes have had fruit on them from growing outside too. And some people, you know, there's a lot of people who are not living in their forever home. They know they're going to move at some stage, and certainly we like to tell people don't plant it in the pot. You certainly can. Look at this one in the pot, look at the amount of fruit on it, going really good. If you grow a papaya or mango outside in a challenging area, they might take a little bit longer to fruit, and when that fruit come, there might be 2 or 3 or 6, but you give it in a warmer situation, or maybe make a little bit of a shelter, put it next to a building, underneath the eaves, things like that, and then all of a sudden you're going from 6 fruit up to 24 or 30 fruit. And then in the greenhouse you sort of, well, you know, you can actually if you, here's a secret here, it is possible to grow mangoes and papayas and things like that in even better conditions than the countries that these originate from, because when you think about it, in those countries there can be seasons. You know, one year there might be a bad season, too much rain, too much whatever, and so, you know, their crops are not doing very well for anyone that year, and it's because there's too much of this and there's too much of that. But when you have a greenhouse, you get to control the amount of water, so you'll never have an event where they get too much water because you water them. You control that yourself, and then you get to control the temperature as well. So there we go. And with some of these bits and pieces that we've got, you know, like look at the price of one of those big fans. That's about $700. These medium-sized fans that are sufficient for most medium-sized greenhouses, they're only $425. They make a huge difference. I set mine at a target temperature of 32 degrees, and I have a cooling difference of 2 degrees. That means when it hits 34 degrees, the fan kicks on and it pushes out that hot air, so the cool air comes from the other end, and and then it stops when it gets to 32. So you look at the temperature graph during the day, and you'll see that because you've got plastic or whatever on the glass or whatever on the outside, the temperature goes up pretty quick. But then when it hits your desired temperature, your target temperature, it's sort of like that. You know, you can see when the fan is cutting in to keep it down there instead of going like way up there, because if your plants are subjected to, you know, 40 and 50 degrees type of heats, that's like trying to grow something in the Sahara Desert. So what do you do now? Well, just take the first step. Go over to bensgarden.co.nz, go to our mangoes, and then down there somewhere you'll be able to go to our pre-order page and select the mango. You'll see some flavour profiles in there. These ones here, you pretty much need a greenhouse. This one, I don't think you'd want any days below 5 degrees. These ones you might need heating because they don't want any days below 10. And when you're signing up, make sure you click Mango Circle or even Mango Research Club if you want to find out more about that. Any questions? Send us an email, go to our Facebook page, send us a message there, or even give us a call on the phone. If you can reach us, we're usually outside. All of the mangoes and papaya in this video have been grown by plants supplied from Ben's Garden to our customers. So all you need to do is follow our guides and you can do the same yourself, or better, or even not as good but still not too bad. That'll be alright.